here with Steve Sneider, who is Global Head of WIPRO. What's the exact title? Business Innovation. So, and you were there for the announcement of talking about the relationship with AT&T and Axeda, where you guys have basically built a leadership team on how to innovate with Axeda platforms. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure, would be happy to. The basic intent of the linkage between Axeda, AT&T, and ourselves is really to try to minimize the friction. A little bit like the early presentation by Andrew. This whole environment is what we see as at a tipping point where simplicity, the utility of many of these applications, and the cost is dropping down. And what we look to do with this partnership is to really try to simplify this whole process, drive cost out of it, and make M2M applications much more affordable, and also focus on the business outcomes as part of our natural consulting tendency with our clients. So that's really the gist of it. Now the linkage with AT&T is one that they provide really a fairly robust platform. They have connectivity. They also have a lot of linkages into different industry sectors. And I think if you think about where people start with M2M, if you think the problem is I can't connect my stuff, the first place you would call is an AT&T, right? If you think that my problem is aggregating data, you'd look around for people like Axeda. And if you think that the problem is I can't stitch it all together, you might call us.
Okay.
So the interesting piece about this three-way linkage is that ideally, because we're sharing a lot of these ideas and issues that come up, one of us will be called, and all three of us will deliver the results faster, better, cheaper than just one could do alone.
Okay, and I'm assuming there's some best practices embedded in what you guys are building there. Do I think of you guys as kind of having kind of a pro services integration functionality embedded in what you're doing?
Absolutely, and part of it is consistency in platforms lets you use technology without having to reinvent the wheel. If I look at so many M2M projects, the ones that typically fail are ones where people are trying to stitch together a new suit by themselves and they haven't really figured out how to make the string. Nobody has figured out how to craft the needle, and they haven't figured out patterns. So the end point is uncertain, and the path to get there is even tougher. So what we try to do is have the patterns, have the string and the needle, and ideally some hands that can craft it well. And by doing that, we look to not have problems with projects and be able to go faster through some of the more complex pieces.
And yet at the same time it'll be tailor-made, right? Fit to the application.
Not entirely tailor-made. I would equate it more to there's a suit on the rack and we haven't put the sleeves on, and we haven't necessarily given you, wide lapels or narrow lapels, but the shell is there, right? And the shell is the basis that lets us move faster. The shell includes Axeda's platform, accelerators we built on top of it, as well as reference applications for different ideas like healthcare, life sciences types of apps, transportation, logistics apps. These form a starter kit. They're the shell of the suit, and we put the lapels and the sleeves on and make you look good.
Cool, very nice. And are there any other vertical marketplaces that you're finding particularly interesting?
Well, the ones we're focused on today are global media and telecom because of the connectivity piece. And our linkages globally are really intended to make sure that no asset is left untouched. The other verticals that have the greatest interest are manufacturing, high tech, natural ones to the space, whether it's industrial or high tech products, the health and life sciences space, and as well energy and utilities. Now some of our other verticals like retail, transportation, logistics, and government, those are interested, but they're looking along the side to see how well we do. And then I think they'll probably come into the fold once they see that we've done swimmingly, right?
Yes, makes sense. Now we've kind of talked about it from the standpoint of building the M2M application as a core. Talk to me about, delivering it to the device. Are you supporting iOS? Are you supporting Microsoft, Android? Do you deal with those kind of end delivery of the app into various devices?
Yeah, that's actually a core part of our technology practice. So it's not really part of an M2M initiative, but there's in our CTO office that's led by Doc Anurag, there are groups that deal with mobility, cloud, and analytics, just as a natural course of business. And in the mobility space, any mobile device is part of a potential target, and we have core technology teams around that. But they're not industry focused. They're focused just on really applying the technology faster, better, cheaper. Analytics, similarly. Cloud, similarly. AWS, an Axeda cloud. All of these, they could be any end target would be fine. We use those as technology skills we would bring into the fold as we deliver an M2M service or application.
Cool. And typically, how long does an engagement last with you folks? Like from cradle to grave on these things, there is no typical, is that the issue?
Well, this is it's a little bit like how big is the bread box, right?
Okay.
Is it an elephant or something in between? So it depends on scope, scale, complexity of devices, complexity of analytics, intended business outcome. If you think about one of the largest M2M applications we built, which is our own eco-energy service offering, if you're not familiar with it, it basically is a managed service where we go in, we put our capital at risk to put additional monitoring devices on network elements, building elements, HVAC systems, and the rest. Bring it back into an aggregation point so that people can analyze energy usage against policy. And if they choose, they can turn up or turn down dials, change the operation of HVAC systems and other pieces. But it's all done on an automated and alert-based structure that is, we put our money into this, and if we don't create a saving, we don't get paid. So the concept on that took about 1.5 years to generate, and it's evolved as we go, because it's a fairly complex ecosystem and has a back-end BPO offering that helps manage that service. Now, if you picked a niche application, some of the ones that we've showcased here, the mining applications, the health and life sciences, can take between 3 days and 3 months. So it's scope, scale, complexity, enterprise-wide, or just a niche. They can be all over the place.
Okay, and in your energy application, is that for service providers like utilities, or are you doing that for like enterprises who are trying to manage stuff, or is it a mixture?
Today it's offered primarily to enterprises, so people like A&P, Best Buy, the retailers, normal operations, office buildings, that type of thing. The other thing that it's targeted at are telecom services providers like Bharti Airtel, where they use it to manage their wireless network, their cell towers, other pieces like that for energy spend. And there's huge potential in that. If you look at the U.S. cable sector, we're talking with a number of folks about helping them deal with this disparate infrastructure that they have that's spread all across the country. And today they know what the network does. They know if it's up or down, but they don't know the energy spend. And so this is a way to potentially help them get better grip on it. Now, the service could be offered to enterprises through someone like a telco as a managed service, white label. Mm-hmm. Today it's not.
Okay, that's. I really enjoyed that part. I may actually come down to visit you in East Brunswick just to talk that part specifically.
You should. It's one of the most interesting applications we've got, and I think the thing that I find interesting about it is people will say, "Well, we're not sure you can handle the scale." And we say, "Well, today we're processing close to 1 million transactions a day. We think we can handle it." Right? So these are industrial grade applications, and I think there's a huge potential for really driving business benefits out of the whole M2M space.
Great. Thank you so much.
Anyway, thanks very much, Carl. It's good talking to you.